Podcasting from Northwest Pennsylvania. You're listening to the Gen Extra Podcast, a show about Generation X, movies, technology, weird news, and anything else they feel like. Join them every Monday morning. Now, here's your hosts, Dave and Joe.
All right, welcome back, everybody.
Yes.
We are here. Yes. Okay, so we have we actually have kind of a packed show this week.
Yeah, we got a bunch of things lined up.
We do. Yeah, we're not just scrounging. Not that we ever do that. But
No, we never do that.
No. Yeah, so I want to talk real quick here in just a second about a movie I saw that just came out. But for the meat of the show, what do we have, Joe? We have a parody of a country song that has now been, how do you want to say it? Taken down.
Well, yeah, I guess in a way. I mean, we have a whole little segment we're going to do here on this parody. There's this YouTube channel that does parodies, but they use AI, and they're also like, what do you want to call it? They're a music and artist themselves, but but they do parodies, and unfortunately, this has been taken down. However, we found a clip of it that we could still play for you, and we're going to discuss that clip, and we're going to discuss the hilarity of what this YouTube channel did until he had to make all of his videos private.
Yes. And second thing we're going to do is you were listening to a show, actually another podcast about...
I was.
What was the name of that podcast, by the way?
It's called Revisionist History.
Okay.
So I want to give them full credit that's what I was listening to when we discussed this next topic today.
Yeah. Today we're talking about the pilot voice. Yeah, everybody knows the voice that comes across the airplane, when they're give you info about landing and whatnot.
Yep.
Choppy.
What the weather's like, and maybe heading into some crosswinds, that kind of stuff.
Yes, you have some interesting information about that.
I do.
I found two stories, which would be our third section of the show. And to wrap up, I'm bringing back an oldie because I have found some new content for it. It is a fan favorite, the Gen Z words. I
love the Gen Z words. Like I said, it's one of my personal favorite pieces of the show because I feel like I learn something every time we do Gen Z words.
Yeah, actually the one I found I literally found today. Like that's how new it is for me. Yeah. So I'm excited.
So this is like just like a Gen Z word, like fresh, like right off the presses, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. And I also did check in with 3 reliable sources that I have at my disposal.
Oh, nice. To make sure that we're not like off base or anything.
Yes. And I had to kind of find out the context of how it's used and even how to pronounce it properly. And now I understand, and we will learn this word shortly.
Wow, I'm excited now because this sounds like it's going to be a real learning experience.
It is. And it's a good word. It can be a compliment or an insult. So stay tuned for that.
Nice.
But anyway, so let's jump into this, Joe. Oh, actually, real quick before we do, sorry, I did want to mention that I saw a movie came out on HBO Max, whatever they call it now. It's
HBO, it's just Max.
Which
now.
I don't care for that. Just call it HBO. That's what it always is. Max sounds too much like Cinemax.
I don't understand what happened to the original name. What the hell was wrong with HBO Max?
Just poor choices. Yeah, I know. Like, people couldn't say it. They couldn't spell it. No. Why? Just stop. Okay, but anyway, I saw the Blue Beetle. Have you heard of this?
I mean, it was a superhero movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so the Blue Beetle is, I don't even know if it was based off like a comic or what, but I saw it on HBO and I decided to give it a watch because I do enjoy movies like that.
Okay.
Let me just say, if you like, superhero movies, if you're a big fan, you may not love this one. It was different. It was supposed to be sort of like interlaid with like comedy as well.
Okay.
How like some of them do that, like not a lot of them, but like Deadpool,
Shazam, they were very
it was Shazam-y
focused. Yeah,
but it wasn't the best. It was very like spoon fed. Like it wasn't very creative comedy. It felt very heavy handed. Like they were doing it because they felt like they needed to. And the special effects are actually pretty good though. I'll give them credit on that. But the story was a little weak for me. That's all I got to say about that.
So I guess I saw some previews for it, and you have to remind me, is this part of the Marvel universe or DC universe?
I have no idea.
You have no idea? Well, why don't we?
I mean,
why don't we just ask the internet?
I can't imagine after seeing this that it was part of either, to be honest, because it was done, I would say, not up to par with the others.
Well, a surprise, surprise. It is a side character in the DC universe.
Okay. They passed this off to HBO, didn't they? They're like, you make it.
Well, I don't know. I thought it came to theaters for a little bit, didn't it? Or did it go straight to?
I don't know. Maybe it did. Maybe it did go to theaters. I don't know. But
it was considered a box office bomb, grossing only 129 million worldwide against a production budget of 104 million, becoming the lowest grossing film in the DC extended universe.
Well,
so
I guess, I mean, I can see why. It just didn't, I don't know, like, even at first, when I first saw it, like, I'm like, what is the Blue Beetle? You know, they referred to it as the Scarab in the movie. And I think that may have even been a better title.
Right. It actually, the better title was right in front of them.
Yeah.
But I think the character's name in the comics might be Blue Beetle.
Maybe, but I don't know. I mean, it could have been done a lot better. That's all I'll say. I don't need to talk about it.
Boring?
Like, yeah,
the comedy wasn't funny. The movie was boring. Like there had to have been something about it that like just didn't work with you.
Pretty much all that, like everything you just said. The comedy was less than stellar. Like I said, it was very, very heavy-handed. Like they were just trying to make it funny, and it really wasn't. And the storyline itself was rather boring and unengaging. And there was a lot of like plot holes in it I found, but like I said, I don't want to spend too long talking about this because
No, I understand.
Because I'm also not talking about the plot itself, because if you do want to go watch it, I don't want to spoil it. So let's just leave it at that. If you decide to check it out, The Blue Beetle, I guess let us know what you think.
You know what, though? I think this might be an interesting time to mention just a general statement on, or just make a general statement on superhero films. There's a lot of introspection, a lot of self-searching right now going on in Hollywood because superhero films are not doing well right now.
Are people kind of over them?
I mean, I don't know how much you've seen it, but I've had my eye on the media here in this space for a few weeks now. I mean, the newest one, the Marvels from the other extended universe, the Marvel universe, which is, it comes out of Disney, bombed. It was the worst grossing Marvel movie to date. I don't know if it broke even or not, but it did terribly.
You think people just weren't interested in that one, or just in general? I wonder if they're just kind of over the superhero stuff.
Here's the problem: is I think the reason why not only like the Blue Beetle but the Marvels are doing so poorly is that there's actually two things going on, and it's not just one or the other. One of them is people are just sick of superhero movies. Like I know, me personally, somebody who enjoys a good superhero movie, I don't really want to go see one right now.
Yeah.
But then right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm where I'm at.
Yeah. Okay. With that said, though, when the new Deadpool comes out, I kind of want to see it. Like, because I enjoy the Deadpool movies or movies.
They are very funny.
They're done
funny.
really well. They are funny.
And I enjoy them. I enjoy them well too. But I think that you bring up a good point, and that's the second problem that I was going to mention, was that I think the Marvels had a fundamental problem in and of itself. That nobody was interested in those characters.
Wait, what characters were in the Marvels? I'm assuming Captain Marvel.
Captain Marvel. I apologize.
You know what?
Another side.
I think I saw a preview for this. The Incredible Hulk's in it too, right?
I mean, he might make a cameo or something, but he's not.
He's not like
he's not one of
the main characters. All right.
It's Captain Marvel, which is played by Brie Larson. It's Miss Marvel, who's played by Iman Vellani, and there is one more superhero in it, and I apologize, I forget which character she plays.
It's kind of centric around Captain Marvel, though, around Brie Larson's character.
Well, it's funny that you're saying these questions because it's one of the main complaints of the movie is that they pulled Brie Larson's character and these two other characters together who have either appeared in their own shows or they were side characters in other Marvel movies and brought them together for their own movie and tried to make this kind of like it's like a team thing, like the other Marvel Avengers, movies, right? Yeah, they're all together. But one of the big complaints is that these characters are largely unknown because people didn't like see the side stories and they didn't watch the stuff on Disney Plus. And like you said earlier, I don't want to belabor the point, but like it just didn't do well. So it matches up with the Blue Beetle and the other DC films, like I think it was The Flash, that bombed at the box office. I mean, there's a couple different problems going on over here, but I'd say largely people are just getting sick of superhero films.
Okay. I mean, I have been for a while. Not even sure why I watched the Blue Beetle. Yeah.
You're right. I didn't think you were that interested in it anyway.
No. It was late and I was looking for something to watch. I threw it on, but yeah. So anyway, all right, let's move on.
There you go.
Before people tune out. Let's jump into the this country song parody, Joe. Okay. You sent this to me the other day.
Yeah, give me some background on this. This all started as a YouTube channel called There I Ruined It. And what There I Ruined It, that's just like the whole sentence, right? What this YouTube channel does, and he had other social media presence too until this recent incident with the strikes against his account. He would take songs like say like 9 Inch Nails Hurt and have and use AI voice modulation and creation, whatever you want to call it, to sing the words instead of like the main singer, right? But he would change the beat of the song. Like it sounds like a Beach Boys song, but they're singing 9 Inch Nails Hurt, right? It's just hilarious to hear it actually play out because you're thinking, all right, well, what would that actually sound like? And then you listen to it and you're like, holy crap! Like it sounds exactly like he describes it to sound, except it's the song I think it is. Only it's being sung by the Beach Boys, and it sounds like it's come out of the 1950s, and it sounds ridiculous, and it's hilarious, and I loved every bit of it. So I sent you a link to one of his newest creations, and it was blowing up. He did, I think the title, and you have to remind me here, the title of the song was like, what everyone thinks bro country sounds like, or...
Yeah, it's like something about bro country. But yeah, so what I found hilarious about this, which we are going to play it here in just a moment, everybody. But what I found so funny was that we actually talked about this issue with country music.
Yeah. And
how so many artists just shoehorn in anything cliche with country. Like any
bro country.
Bro country, yeah. Yeah. Dixie Cups, dirt roads. Like we had a whole episode about this one time.
The truck, yeah.
Yeah. And this guy did it, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, he took what we always made jokes about, which was like bro country is just the same 3 or 4 subjects crammed all into like 3 minutes, just repeated over and over, and just literally did that.
Yes. So let's play it for everybody, and then we'll kind of jump into.
We'll just pause or stuff every once in a while. We'll make a point about something if we have to.
Truck, jeans, beer, girl, creek boots, truck, tan legs, train, dog, beer, Dixie cup. Got a beer in my beer.
Whoops, sorry.
Heavy in my truck, got a dog at the wheel, cut off jeans, truck. Dirt road, back road, beer, moonlight, red, white, and blue, girl, Friday night.
Pause it there for a second. I mean, it is not more. It doesn't get more on the nose than that. But what's really funny about that is, let's suppose you're at a party, okay,
and that came on, I would just think it's a regular song.
Exactly. Yeah. Put it in the background. Not a single person is going to say, "Did he just rhyme truck with truck?"
Yeah, beer and or I want to hear more.
Beer. Yeah, what did he say?
I don't know. Let me play more. Here we go.
I got my boots in the dirt. Got the dirt from a dirt road beneath my truck. Got the truck from the girl. She's got that dirt. I got the dirt. Got the dirt from the dirt road. I got my boots. Got the dirt. I got the dirt from the
beer and dirt and girls and truck.
It just repeats it over and over. And I love how he's like, I got the dirt from the dirt road beneath my truck. You know.
I want to go just a little bit further with this because I love the chorus here. Here we go.
Thrown in my truck, got the truck from my girl. She's got them boots in the dirt, got the dirt from the dirt road. Got a beer in my beer and a Chevy in my truck. Got a dog at the wheel, cut off jeans truck. Dirt road.
Cut off jeans truck.
I love how he's like, I got a beer in my beer and a Chevy in my truck.
All right, last little bit here, then we're going to talk about this.
Back road, beer, moonlight, red, white, and blue, girl, Friday night.
Dude, It's all in there.
So, and I think what makes it brilliant is that because he used an AI, I think is it say on the, I think it was Luke Combs.
I think it's Luke Bryan.
Luke Bryan. Okay, I'm sorry. I mix up every one of them sounds right. This is such a right. Every one of them sounds exactly the same to me, right? That's how much I listen to Bro Country.
Yeah, I'm only familiar with Luke Bryan's voice because we watch American Idol, so I've gotten familiar with what he sounds like.
Oh, okay. But what I think is so brilliant about that creation, it's just not like me or you strumming it on a guitar or whatever. He uses AI to train on the voice that he wants.
Mm-hmm.
Then he writes the lyrics out, but then he has the AI voice sing the words in the song, so it sounds just like the artist. Right.
Yeah,
and that's what makes it sound so. It's brilliant.
It is, dude. He's like, I wish we could do this kind of stuff because we have come up with many topics that would have been hilarious for like parody songs.
Right, if we could get the voice right.
Yeah, exactly. Wait, there's like one more line coming here. Something about fish bait. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
There we go.
Bait tailgate, small town, y'all. Hanks on whiskey shot, fake southern drawl. Red dirt, amen, farm, double wide. Beer, and I'm proud of my pride. Got a.
I love how he has to get in. He has to get in the whole like
double wide.
Yeah.
It's so country.
On the farm and proud of my pride. You know?
Oh my God.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yes. Well done, sir. Yes. Well done. If you want to check out some, so if you want to check out some of his stuff, what is it on Instagram again?
Unfortunately, right. So unfortunately, right now, if you want to check out his stuff, you have to go to Instagram, which I don't even have an Instagram account, but I know you do, so we were able to find it so you used to be able to just go to YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So as of today or yesterday, 2 days ago, I think he had to make all of his music on his YouTube channel private, because he has received his second strike from the record companies for his work, which is his work is protected by fair use, but because YouTube doesn't want to stick their nose in it, the record companies rejected his fair use claim, and YouTube basically wiped their hands of the situation and gave him 2 strikes.
Yeah.
So right now, the only place to watch his stuff is Instagram, and I mean maybe TikTok, but I know the ones that we found were still on Instagram. They're still posted on Instagram.
Yeah, for now, because I'm pretty sure, didn't Facebook buy Instagram?
They did, so then they'd have to. I mean, the record companies would then have to issue like a cease and desist or whatever against that channel too.
Which I'm sure they probably will. Yeah,
and it's really honestly, it's really unfortunate, and this is probably one of the only most like opinionated, and it's not political, but like thing I'll say on the show is that I personally I think it's bullshit, and I wish that people like this could have the freedom to write what's called obvious parody, and that fair use protects obvious parody. Like if you and I did something on the show, an obvious parody of pick a song, I don't care whatever song it is, right? And we would sing it, but we'd change the words around or whatever, or we would impersonate someone's voice.
Yeah.
It's protected under fair use for obvious parody.
Right.
And
yeah, which is how like Weird Al gets away with it.
Exactly. Even though Weird Al like always tried to get permission, like he technically was protected by the law for doing obvious parody. But it's unfortunate that this guy's and as far as I know, it's like this person's part of their livelihood. Like they depend on those YouTube clicks and that ad revenue for some of their income. And then again, it'd be an entire episode in of itself. It's unfortunate that the people who I guess we'll say he's parodying, or the companies of the people he's parodying. Great.
Parodied?
Yeah, parodied.
That sounds fun.
That they can't. It's unfortunate they can't take a joke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like,
you know,
you think it's going to deter people from buying the actual songs? Like, I don't know why. I don't know why they think. Maybe it's because. Do you think it's because he's making money off of this? Like they don't want him to reap the rewards.
Part of it. I think that's part of it. I think that they know that. I think the thought process is, well, he's reaping the rewards from our, and I use our loosely because it's really the songwriters and stuff, but from our artistry and parroting it on YouTube. So that's ours. That should be our money. So shut this stuff down. That's where I think it comes from.
Yeah. Well, like, what about like cover songs? Is like you can't just cover a song on YouTube and play it, right?
Okay, well, that's a funny story. You bring that up because it's what the law calls largesse, where it's like it's basically hands off. You can't really if you just take your guitar and cover a song on YouTube, you could technically be either demonetized, receive a strike, or nothing at all. And a lot of times the record companies or the artists themselves, because the artists themselves can do it, basically sometimes look the other way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I've seen people cover songs on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why some, like you said, some get away with it and some don't. It has to come down to money. Like if the channel's successful and maybe they're making money, they don't want them to on their song by singing it. You know, I mean, which I get, it's their song. Like, why should you make money off of it?
But the only difference that comes to my mind in this case is that because he was using AI trained voices.
Oh, because it sounded exactly like him.
That it sounds like the artist, that it especially pissed them off, right?
Oh, I didn't think about that. That's probably true. Because it's not just like with Weird Al, it's Weird Al doing a song, but it's him singing. So
right.
It's obviously not the artist. In this case, it could be misconstrued as a Luke Bryan song.
I think that's their argument. I disagree with their argument. I still think this is what I would put in the bucket of obvious parody.
All right,
but
well, look, if this song came, like you said earlier, if this song came on in the background and you were at someone's house, I'm like, is this a new Luke Bryan song? Like, and
yeah.
like, I would think it was it. Like, I'm like, this is the oddest thing I've ever heard him do.
Until you heard it, though. Until you actually listened, though.
Right, but if no one explained what it was, and like if it just came on and no one had heard this yet in the room, you'd be like, why did he make this song that is so obviously over the top, cliche country everything?
Right.
With no explanation, I would 100% think he did it.
So you know what then? I think we need a little experiment.
Yeah, oh, find somebody?
I think the next time we're at your house and we have some people over, you and I are going to secretly pop this up in the background like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Right? Until somebody either calls it out or doesn't call it out at all.
That's fine. We'll do that.
I would love to do that. Just kind of do the social experiment.
Oh, dude, people would think it was his song. I'm telling you. They would have questions, but they would think it was him.
And there's so many variables here, though. You have the volume,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because if it's like high or low, like obviously if it's louder, it's a little easier to pick up on the fact that he just said there's a beer in my beer and a Chevy in my truck, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if I said, hey, here's a new Luke Bryan song, check it out.
My beer and a Chevy in my truck, got a dog at the wheel, cut off jeans, the truck.
You would think it was him. I'm just saying. Just saying.
If you were to, okay, so I can see the argument that in that initial moment, I may think that he actually did the parody.
Yeah,
That
I think that's the problem. That's got to be the problem. I think you hit it.
I think my opinion of the record companies is unchanged, but I understand the fact that why his parody may have irked them more than other people who will go on YouTube and just cover songs.
Let me say this, Joe. Let's say that somebody decided to put a parody of our podcast. Okay, somebody wanted to make fun of us. All right.
Okay.
And they AI like created our voices and made some real dumb content that we talked about, but it wasn't us.
Yeah.
You can't say that we wouldn't be mildly upset because they used our voices.
I don't know if I'd care. I really don't. So there's an entire podcast that does that. It's called Dudesy.
Oh, okay.
They take Tom Hanks's voice and they make him say the most absurd, ridiculous things. Like I was listening to it yesterday and it's side-splittingly funny because it's Tom Hanks talking, but he's saying the most absurd things. So I think it depends. If they get on there and they're like, they say some absolutely, they make it sound like you or me said some absolutely like heinous, like horrible things, like racist, vile crap. Then I'd be mad, right?
Yeah. Do you think a disclaimer at the beginning of that song would have done any justice? Like
maybe.
You know maybe. What I mean? Like, this is not actually Luke Bryan, and then played the song.
Maybe. That's a good point. Like, right. Like if it said like, this is not actually Luke Bryan, and then let the song go.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. But let's we could talk about that for a while. But let's keep moving through this show here, Joe. Let's jump into your next spot here. This is the pilot the pilot voice section of the show.
Yeah, this is the pilot voice, and I'm really looking forward to this conversation with you because I know we did a little prep work. We got something set up to experiment with here, but I want to give full credit to Revisionist History. So this is not you and I. This is not me. Like I didn't do any of this research. I didn't do the interviews. I want to make sure that full credit goes to Revisionist History. But I was listening to it's their latest episode. So if you want to check this out for real, when you're done listening to the entirety of our show today. Which, of course, everybody listens to the full hour, right?
I hope so.
I mean, all the statistics that I've looked at says nobody ever tunes out.
No, never. Thank you all for that.
When you're done with you're done with our show today. Go check out the last episode of Revisionist History called, I think it's just called The Pilot Voice, it's actually the title is called This Is Your Captain Speaking.
Ah, yes, that's a great title.
It is a great title.
Yeah.
The entire premise of the show.
This is your captain speaking. We're about to land.
Exactly.
We are approaching Pittsburgh International. Landing looks like it's going to be pretty smooth.
I can't do pilot voice.
But it was actually but what you just did there was actually was really good because you hit on a couple things that they talk about in that episode, and one of them is that if you just take a random sampling of people, whether it be me or you or our friends or just a random person on the street, and ask them.
Oh, how to imitate a pilot?
They will do. Yeah,
they'll do this.
Thank you for flying Gen Extra Air. I hope you enjoy your stay here in the sunny Miami. We will be on the ground in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's, and it's to a T. Like everybody has the same response. It's all like they say something and they'll go, we might have some, right. We might be flying into some crosswinds. So make sure you leave your seatbelt on during the duration of the flight today. And we'll be into Miami in about 2 hours.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's just right.
I know. I just started thinking about the, it was like a few episodes ago when we heard the pilot talking to like ground control.
Yeah.
And it was when that lady had an accident with her bowels all through the plane.
Oh God. Yeah. I could yeah.
That just came back to me.
But they would say it the same way.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's like
ground control. We had an incident with a passenger. She diarrheaed all over the floor, through the aisle, all the way from the front to the back of the plane.
Right. And it would be super calm and it'd be in that monotone, kind of like droney but confident pilot voice.
Yeah.
And that's what this episode focuses on, is that clearly not everybody talks like that, including pilots. So what happens with the pilot voice?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you.
Why does it always sound like that?
Why is it like this? Do they go through some sort of pilot training that says this is how you need to speak over the loudspeaker in the plane, the intercoms?
Great question. And surprisingly, the answer to the question, is there a strict voice training? There actually isn't. There's no, in fact, when the one pilot that they interviewed, that was being interviewed for this show, was talking about how, actually they were talking to a woman pilot, and she was like, the first time I ever did an announcement, she's like, she was so nervous because they don't really do any formal training on when you should make an announcement, how you should make an announcement. Like it has become this cultural phenomenon, cultural and like learned and practiced norm among pilots about like when to use the intercom, how to use it. And the things that they discuss is it's not just one thing. There's actually multiple social factors that go into the pilot sounding like they are.
Okay.
So one of the factors is the exposure factor. So what happens is you have a bunch of people, you have a bunch of pilots, right? And they spend a lot of time with each other. They fly together. They'll get the jump seat together. They'll train together. They'll go on the simulator together. They'll train with each other, because you all have like a captain, like in a like a junior officer or whatever, training with that captain. So one of the aspects is that social exposure, that they are so exposed to each other all the time that they end up picking up over time. They end up picking up many of the same
Like
call it
cadence.
inflections, the cadence, the way they address the audience, right?
I think that this also applies to like field news reporters.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if
Yeah.
they go through a training or if it's the same kind of situation. Do they just learn that from example, like how to talk like a news reporter?
Right.
You know,
Right. Because they all kind of similar, right?
Yeah, when they're out on the scene of like a car accident, like we are standing here at the car accident, as onlookers, drive by. Like I can't do it, but they always have this weird cadence to their voice as well, and it sounds very news anchory. And if they were to actually talk to you like that, like at the dinner table, it would be really bizarre.
It'd be totally bizarre, right? And he's talking to this pilot, and like his voice doesn't sound exactly like that. But then he asks the pilot, he says, "Okay, could you just do like a practice announcement for me?"
Mhm.
And he, without even thinking about it, starts being like, "Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be in 30,000 feet here in about 5 minutes. Flight time today will be about 2 hours and 15 minutes." It just goes into
The pilot
just
voice.
goes into the pilot voice, right?
Do you think maybe on some sort of like subconscious level, like they just feel like that's what they're supposed to sound like because
Well,
they've heard it for years and years and years. Like that's just what pilots sound like.
Well, and that's what's playing into it too. So what they did was, I love that question. I promised everybody that I'm not feeding these questions to Dave. That gets back to kind of like the original, like when the flying industry first took off.
Mm-hmm.
Why did pilots start addressing the audience like that? Why has this become such a norm of their culture or of their job, of that group? And a lot of it goes back to like when pilots first started flying commercially. They actually traced it the whole way back. I think it was Chuck Yeager in The Right Stuff, which was a movie the movie came out in the 70s, but Chuck Yeager was like the model pilot.
Mhm.
And he kind of, he gets partial credit, not full credit. Like I said, this is not a one variable type of thing, right? There's a lot of variables at play here. But he actually got a lot of credit for kind of, I don't want to say inventing, but Chuck Yeager kind of first put on that pilot's voice, which is that kind of like monotone but confident speaking pattern.
Mhm.
And through a combination of the explosion of the airline industry and pilots wanting to sound like each other, and the fact that like I think when people want to express confidence, this was a big portion they were talking about too. When you want to express confidence and calm to your audience, no pilot gets on, at least that I've heard. They don't get on the intercom and be like, "Hey, everybody, this is Pilot Jim. We're about right." Oh, it's like, wow, we just went through some terrible storms back there. I hope everyone's okay. Man, we're about half a tank of fuel left. Ooh, yeah, just kidding.
Hey, everybody, we are about to run into a giant thundercloud here coming up. It's going to get a little rough, huh?
Hope those seatbelts are working,
Yeah.
And one of the things they talked about, like voice, I think is a psychologist or I forget what the right term is, but they were talking about how something along those lines. They were talking about how the higher your voice tends to go and the faster you tend to speak, the more it expresses to your audience that things are not as calm.
Right. So they keep a low, sort of monotoned, slower approach to their comms, their communication.
Yeah. And that was another factor that plays into it. And even if you listen to a woman pilot, I mean, most people can tell the difference between a male and a female voice, and or people, they definitely pronounce that way, right? So even women pilots tend to copy the same kind of norm and speaking pattern as their male counterparts too. It's just the pilot voice. So next time you're on an airplane, listen for that, because you're going to, obviously you don't need to, you already know it, but next time you're on, listen for that. And you're going to be like, huh, they really do all sound the same. Now, not exactly the same. I've had a couple pilots that are a little more cheerful or droney than others. But
I found something here. Let me see what this is.
Speaking with just a little flight information. Coming up on the left, we're going to be catching a glimpse of the Grand Canyon. On the right, you can be able to see the Hoover Dam in just a few minutes.
He's a little
we're flying
more
at an
jovial.
altitude of 37,000
yeah.
feet, and our airspeed is 400 miles an hour. Couple little facts here. I'm packing a Colt King Cobra. That's a 357 caliber.
All right, apparently this is a joke video. All right.
Well, that's just funny because you would never hear that.
No.
Right? But even in that parody, obviously that was a parody, but
Yeah.
even in that parody, you could hear that even he
Was imitating the voice, yeah.
trying. He even put a couple uhs in there, and he was trying to speak a little more monotone. And on the left, you'll see the Grand Canyon as we come up. Even that parody is trying to parody it correctly.
Yeah. Wait, pilots talking to passengers. What's this?
Yeah, like can you find like a pilot voice example?
Ladies and gentlemen, Power Center to Minneapolis. Weather close to cloudy, temperature in the 60s.
All right, that's another joke. These are all jokes. Everybody's making fun of it. But yeah, no, I get it though. It is interesting that, they all sort of do that, but they aren't, at least from what I understand, they're not told to do that. They just do it.
They just do it. So if you want to hear more about it and not hear the butchered version that I just gave, go check out This Is Your Captain Speaking. It is currently the most recent episode on Revisionist History podcast.
There you go. All right. Interesting, Joe. Actually, I'm going to listen to that one. That sounds pretty good. So I'm sure they'll have some like fun examples on there of
they
speaking.
do. They talk to a pilot directly, which is kind of like I think personally
they went way deeper than we did.
Yeah, I mean they actually talked to a real pilot.
Yeah, and probably had good examples, unlike us.
Yeah, right.
Oh my God! All right, let's revisionist history on any podcast platform. Check it out.
Any podcast platform, just search for it.
Yeah. So all right, let's move on. I got a couple stories, Joe, and then we will end the show, like I said, with a couple new Gen Z words.
Sounds good.
All right. So my first story comes out of Florida.
What a surprise.
Always. But this one is very, it had no choice but to be Florida because it was at Disneyland or Disney World, whichever one's in Disneyland.
Disney World is in Florida. Disneyland is in California.
Oh, crap. Wait. It says a man at Disneyland was arrested.
But that would be California if it says Disneyland, unless it's a misprint.
It might be because I thought, okay, so here's what happened. It says shocking video shows Disneyland streaker going naked on It's a Small World.
Oh, God.
Yes.
No.
Yes. Perhaps not the best ride to do that on, because there's probably going to be some jokes coming from that. All right, so here we go. So it says a 26-year-old suspect was arrested after clips showed a man stripping down and roaming around the iconic theme park ride on Sunday. A man at Disneyland was arrested after allegedly went skinny dipping in the waters of the iconic It's a Small World attraction. Shocking videos on social media. What? These exist?
Oh, no.
Show a man strolling around the attraction wearing nothing. Wait a minute.
What?
It says wearing nothing, just underwear and glasses. So he wasn't totally naked. This is misleading. Yeah, I thought he was butt naked. It says naked. He's not naked.
I mean, right. How disappointing.
He's not naked. All right. Well,
he couldn't even go full on.
Yeah, man. If you're gonna go through with this, you gotta go full naked.
I mean, yeah, if you're gonna commit, right?
Right. I mean,
now,
I guess
you know what?
If there's kids in there too, yeah. I mean,
right.
Good
to
for
be
him.
fair, he probably was thinking about that. Like, I better not do this.
Yeah, that's true.
Full on, because you probably could get in some serious trouble and end up on one of the lists.
Oh,
besides doing what he already did.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I guess there are videos online somewhere on Instagram or something, Facebook, TikTok, whatever, Snapchat, whatever people are using. So there you go. There's my first story. My second story, Joe. This one I will talk about a little bit more in depth.
Okay.
Let me pull this one up. All right. So this one, I'm like doing the pilot voice. Let me pull up this article.
Next one.
It says a divorced woman demands refund from wedding photographer 4 years later.
Oh, I swear we did something similar to this.
This one just came
But
out.
it might. Okay, but it was right. But this was like one where it's like they demanded a refund like right after it. I think.
Yeah. So this one here says a South African wedding photographer this week received what he calls the craziest request he has ever heard in his career. A woman whose wedding he shot 4 years ago in 2019 is demanding a full refund for the wedding photography because she got divorced and doesn't need the photos anymore.
What?
Yeah, that's her reasoning.
No, this is a real thing.
Yeah, dude. It's been actually all over YouTube. People are talking about it. Like a lot of photographers are, they're making like, little YouTube videos about this.
That's just wild, right? Come on.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a photographer, wedding photographer, this is because one of her arguments was, there's nothing in your contract that says I can't do this. And there really shouldn't be anything. I mean, I don't believe that no court, no judge would ever rule in favor of the client. No offense to the client. I just feel like she is very much in the wrong because like one thing that, people always say about photography, when you're all done with your wedding, what are you left with? Your pictures, right? It's all you got left.
Right. Yeah.
So we're not the only vendor there. We're not the only professional that's involved in someone's wedding. There's also going to be the venue itself, caterers who serve food, DJs, designers, like the coordinators,
right?
In some case, like videographers. There's all kinds of hands at work, people at play making this wedding happen for you. But I feel like because in this case, because the photographer was the only one that delivered something post wedding, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right. They give a product. They create a product. They create a service, right?
Everything else is day of.
Yeah.
So when they leave the wedding is over. They have nothing left to show except your pictures. So that was her argument was well, I don't need these anymore. I don't want the pictures. We're divorced. I want my money back. Like she was even trying to say like, well, give me like 70% back and we'll call it even. I won't have to call it, a judge, or a lawyer.
Wait, she was like, give me like 70% back?
Yeah. She was trying to negotiate some money back.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So everything he did, this photographer, pre-wedding, wedding, and post-wedding, nothing matters. None of that matters.
Right.
Because you're divorced now and you want your money back.
I can't. I'm assuming that the photographer did not follow through.
No, he pretty much laughed, not insultingly, but he's like, no. He's like, that's not going to happen. She's like, I'm going to get a hold of my lawyer. He's like, give him my number.
Yeah,
like,
sure. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah. So it's definitely a weird ask. I don't think that most people would consider to do that. I think, a sane person would just realize that, well, that sucks. I have all these pictures that I don't really care for anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to sue him for my money back. Are you going to sue the caterer? Like, hey, it turns out I didn't actually need you there. I'm so sorry. I'd like a refund. Like, no.
It's just, I don't know. I think it's just wild what some people will attempt to get their money back for.
It is pretty bizarre.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they will.
I would never do something like that. I hope, God forbid, I don't ever want that situation to happen to me. But like, I would never go back to the photographer and be like, can I have my money back?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's definitely an odd ask. But it turns out like after this lady seemed like she was a bit crazy, but after some conversation, she did ask the photographer. She's like, okay, she's like, I realized what you were saying. And she even said something like, I will seek therapy. And nowhere in the text chain that you get to read, does he ever mention go to therapy? So I thought, like, I don't know if it's like somebody else said that to her, but anyway, she's like, I would like to do a recently divorced photo shoot instead.
Wait, what?
Yeah, apparently that's a thing where somebody gets divorced and then they they burn their wedding dress or something.
That's a thing?
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, but it felt to me like it was almost like a trap. Like she's like, okay, so I'm going to get it because he would not talk to her. He wouldn't meet up with her.
Right. It almost seems like it wasn't there was nothing behind it. It was all
Right. It was a way to get them face to face so she could actually talk about like the real deal, the problem.
Right.
So yeah, hopefully he doesn't actually go through with that because I wouldn't. I'd be like, I would prefer you get a hold of somebody else.
It's just wild. Just I don't know. It's like one of those things where it's like I don't get where people get these ideas from.
Yeah, I don't know either. But yeah, let's move into the last bit here, Joe, which is our Gen Z word of the day. Brought this back. It's been months.
Do we have an intro?
We do not.
Gen Z word of the day. We need an intro for Gen Z word of the day
because they're just going to keep coming.
I know. So that's why. So hit a random button.
All right, here we go.
Perfect. Okay, Gen Z word of the day, go.
All right, so yeah, like I said, some new developments here with some of the new lingo that the kids are saying. The first one, Joe, is eat. E-A-T, eat.
I know what that means.
Oh, do you really?
Yes, it means to consume food.
That is correct. I don't.
So next, please.
No, the way they are using it would be in the same way that you would use the word like slay. So it'd be like, Tina is, or that outfit is eaten. That's what they would say.
Oh man, that's rough.
It's bad, dude.
Honestly,
yeah,
that's rough. Like I get some of the other Gen Z words, but this is a rough one, man.
Hey, those shoes eat. That's what they say.
Oh,
they say eat.
Okay, could someone please contact Gen Z right now and tell them this doesn't work?
What's wrong with just saying, "Hey, those are some really nice shoes"?
Right, or those shoes look great. Or
those are really cool. I know they just have to make stuff up.
I'm like the NFL referee right now. I'm pulling the yellow flag out of the pocket.
Yeah,
I'm like,
foul.
This doesn't work.
Foul. Yeah, so that's a new one. So if someone does say that something you have or wearing or doing, I suppose, is eating, it's a compliment. So there you go.
Okay.
All right.
I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, the other one is a text update. So if you see the letters FR, I know what it stands for.
Wait, so you received a text that said FR?
No, I didn't. But what I'm saying is, if you do, if someone texts you and says, like, hey, I am coming over tonight, FR, it stands for real, for real.
You know what? I knew that for some reason.
Yeah. So the reason for the double FRs is because it's supposed to be like emphatic, like it's
for real, right?
For real. Yeah, like this is really happening.
Like not just for real.
For real. Yeah.
I mean, okay. So they're taking an audible saying, something that people do say, out. Like people have said for real, or for real, like yeah, for real. Yeah, people have said that out loud, and they've just turned it into a text function.
Yeah, I kind of like this one actually. I might use it.
I'm gonna let this one go.
Mm-hmm.
But the ref's giving it some side eye.
Yeah. So if you're like we played some hockey the other night, and you're like, Debo, you played pretty good. I'm like, really? And if you wrote back and you're like FR, I would believe you. I'd believe you then. Yeah.
Yes. Because I made it really solid. Yeah. I'm just like, for real, you played well.
I must be being very truthful.
And if I just send you a single FR, you're like, huh?
Yeah. All right. So the last one is, it's a little bit different. It's, I'll just say the word, gyat.
Gyat.
Yeah. G-Y-A-T-T. Gyat.
G-Y-A-T-T.
I had to verify the pronunciation because I wasn't sure if it was Gyat or Gyat.
Right. I would have guessed. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah. They said it's a hard G, not J. So it's Gyat. Gyat.
And what's the usage? What's the context?
It is in reference to a big butt. So.
Really?
Yes. But I had to verify too. I'm like, is this like an insult? If you say like, look at Tina's gyat, like that could be a good thing or a bad thing. So basically it is a substitute for the words big butt.
That's it. It's just a straight substitute.
Yeah. So I thought initially maybe it was like an adjective, it was like, Tina's butt is Giat. That's not how you use it. I found that out. I had to clarify.
So I can't help in my head. I'm like, Giat big butts, and I cannot lie. You other brothers can't deny. But that's not. It wouldn't make any sense.
That would be. It'd be like I like Giat, and I cannot lie. Right, there you go. Yeah. Oh my God. You other brothers. Right. I like Giat, and I cannot. Maybe do you guess where it came from? No, I cannot. But no.
I don't think so, because it doesn't really fit in there. But it's I don't know. Like I'm trying to figure out why this one makes sense and how it came to be, right? And I know that's not always the answer, but usually some of these words usually have some root in some other, like, whether it could be another language, or it's a shortened version of the word, or it sounds like another word, but this doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I don't think you can dissect this one and figure out what it was or where it came from. I don't understand. I don't know. Giat. Does it sound like something else?
I don't know. I mean, what a weird one, you know?
Yeah, like look at Tina's Giat. Giat. Was she Giat? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know where it came from. Gen Zs. Oh my God. All right. Do you have anything else to add to this show?
I don't think so. I don't know if I can go beyond Giat.
Giat. Oh my God.
Enthusiasm when they see I'm just double checking.
Oh, you're checking it out?
Right?
All right.
This one just confuses the hell out of me. And at least like the version that I see between like TikTok and Urban Dictionary is enthusiasm when they see a big butt.
Wait, enthusiasm?
Like yacht.
Oh, okay.
You know?
All right. Why though? Why? I don't get it. I don't know. I'm never going to understand it.
However, and we may want to talk to our sources about this.
Mm-hmm. They're very reliable sources.
I believe it. I'm also seeing that it can kind of slide into just saying like, God damn.
Oh, like goddamn.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if there is a little bit more flexibility there than what you and I are giving it.
Okay.
Like it looks like it's a little more flexible than just the strict definition that we were referring to earlier.
Oh, I wonder if that's sort of where it came from. Was maybe when someone says like, goddamn.
Yeah.
They just dropped the damn and kept the got.
Yep.
Okay. So if they're looking at a big butt that they are interested in,
yes,
and they're like, yeah, and that's all they say. Okay. Maybe we've just figured it out, Joe. Maybe we just figured it out.
I mean, and that's what we do here on the Gen Extra podcast. We figure things out.
We do. I think we came to a good conclusion there, and got the answer.
And
well done,
and on
sir.
that note,
well done, yeah. Yeah. On that note,
thank you all for tuning in for another episode of the Gen Extra podcast, and we will see you next Monday.
Perfect. It can't end any better than that.
That's right. All right, guys. Yeah, we will actually see you next Monday, and thanks for tuning in.
All right, talk to you next time.